Hi everyone, happy Thursday. It's the 25th of February 2021, and today we're learning to box up our letter. So we've done some boxing up before when we did other nonfiction writing and our stories, but we're going to have a look at it again today with our letter. But before we get started, let's start with our revision and editing starter. So inside the box, we have a sentence. And just like every week, we're going to have a look at this sentence and see if there's anything that doesn't look quite right about it. It might be missing punctuation. It might be that something's spelt incorrectly. Now you'll notice usually I use my green pen to show you which words aren't spelt correctly, but the only clue I'm going to give you today is that there are two words that need to be corrected. Okay, everything else is spelt properly. It's just those two words. And don't forget to look for punctuation as well. So I'm going to let you pause the video and have a go at correcting that sentence. And when you come back, we'll have a look at it together. All right, welcome back. Get yourself a pen or a pencil that's a different color to the one you wrote your sentence in, and we're going to get started. So looking right at the beginning of our sentence, we see that it does not have a capital letter. So we're going to give it a capital W, but let's start to read it to see if we can spot the mistakes. We are very upset because we miss our friends. We are very upset because we miss our friends. Well, let's have a look at this word. Is this how we spell we? No, you all know that from phase 3 phonics. So we need to take away two of those E's because we is just W-E. Now let's look at the word R. This is a beautiful digraph R, but is it a complete word R or is it just a sound? That's right, it's just a sound. And we know the tricky word R from phase 3. So we are, A-R-E, very upset because we miss our friends. Full stop at the end. Always good to check for our full stop at the end. So we've got our two words that were spelled incorrectly, we've added our capital letter, and we've added our full stop at the end. So give yourself a tick for each of those things. There's 4 different things you had to change. And if you didn't get all of them, that's no problem. You just need to use your pen and pencil to make those corrections for yourself. All right, so this week we've been talking about letters, and we've identified lots of features of letters or parts that a letter will have. So let's have a look at our letter that we received this week. This is our model text, and this is what we're going to be writing. Our writing doesn't have to be exactly the same as this letter, but we're going to use this letter as our template. So it's going to be our model text that we write this week. And then when we get back to school in 2 weeks' time, or after next week, we're going to be writing our own letter. So we're going to be changing lots about it. But so we know that letters will begin with an address. So this is the address of who wrote the letter, the crayons, and where it's from, the school's address. So 70 Northumberland Avenue. But when we write address, you can write the Palmer Academy, and that's okay as well. We also see that our letter has a greeting. So the greeting is our way of saying hello. So let's see who the letter is for. Dear Mrs. Madison. So there's our greeting. Now, when it comes to the writing in the letter, we said that all letters will start with their purpose, which we talked about yesterday. What's the purpose again? Pause the video and share what you think. Did you guess it was their reason? Very good. It's our reason for writing. So yesterday we talked about why the crayons were writing. We're writing to tell you that we're unhappy with the crayon situation here at school. You see, we're getting very bored because we haven't been used for quite a few weeks now. We miss all of our friends who use us to draw beautiful pictures with lots of wonderful colors. We're getting very upset. It's very boring inside the crayon tray and very dark too. We are worried that we will not have the stamina to color such pictures because we haven't been used for so long. Do you know when our friends will be returning to us? Well, and that last bit at the end is a really important part of a letter. Do you recognize the punctuation in that underlined sentence? That's right, it's a question, and we know that letters will include questions for the person to write back about. And finally, if a greeting is how we say hello, a closing is how we say goodbye. So in this letter, our closing is your very lonely friends, the crayons. Fantastic. Okay, so for boxing up, which is something we've done before, we said this is where we have a look at all the parts that our writing needs to include, or all the features. And we make sure that we write them down. This is going to really help us when it comes time to writing our letter next week because we'll be able to look and see that we have everything we need. So we're going to start with the address. Do you remember who wrote the letter? That's right, it was the crayons. And where did the crayons live? That's right, in the crayon box. And where was that crayon box? It was at the Palmer Academy. You can write the Palmer Academy if you want to. If you know our address, 70 Northumberland, you can write that as well. But I will accept the Palmer Academy. And where is the Palmer Academy? What town do we live in? That's right, Reading. And what country do we live in? That's right, England. See, our geography is coming in handy. So I will take our address just like that. Who wrote the letter? Where do they live? Where does the crayon box live? What town are we in? What country are we in? Now let's look at the date. We said that the crayons did not put a date on their letter, but that's okay because we can put a date on ours. Do you remember what the date was today? That's right, the 25th of February 2021. I can't believe it. So we've got our address, we've got the date. Now we need our greeting. Who was that letter written to and how did they greet us? Pause the video, have a think, look back, let me know. That's right, they said, "Dear Mrs. Madison." If you'd like to change it and say "Dear Year 1," you can say "Dear Year 1" as well. Maybe we can change it to "Dear Year 1." There we go. Now let's look at the next label. So we need the purpose or the reason for writing. So why were they writing us? We are writing because we are very upset at school. We have to write a good sentence to show why they're writing. You can say they're very upset. You could say they're feeling lonely. You could say they're feeling frustrated. Remember, yesterday we looked at all those different reasons why they might be writing. So you can change your opening sentence, your purpose sentence. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine, but it has to show one of those reasons why they were writing. And finally, what's the question going to be that we include? What was the question that the crayons wanted to know? When are you coming back to school? Question mark. And if I'm asking a question, it's ever so important that I end it with a question mark. And finally, with our closing, it's our way of saying goodbye. So how did we sign off the letter? If you don't remember, you can go back to the letter and have a little look. How did they sign off? How did they say goodbye? Your very lonely friends, the crayons. Your very lonely, sad friends, the crayons. And I'm giving the crayons capital letters. Do you know why? That's right. It's because it's their name. Just like I gave year 1 a capital letter as well, because year 1 is the name of our year group. Fantastic. So we've done our boxing up together. Now your challenge today is, can you do your boxing up on your own? So maybe if you have an adult or an older sibling working with you, you could get them to draw this box for you or write these headings that you need, your address, your date, your greeting, your purpose, your question, your closing. Or you can copy these so that they're on the left side of your page. So they all need to be going in the same column like this. Then beside them, you're going to complete the address, the date, the greeting, the purpose, the question, and the closing. Now, do not worry, you don't have to do this all from your memory. We've had a look at this letter together. That's our probably hardest challenge if you can go back to the letter and find those things. But if you're really stuck, you can look back at our model as well. What I don't want you to do is sit in front of this screen and just copy it down, because that's not really learning, is it? That's just copying. And that's not going to help us with our letter writing. So I want you to have a go at doing your boxing up. If you're finding it quite challenging, or if you're someone who doesn't write sentences yet by yourself, Perhaps you could sit with an adult the same way you would sit with a teacher or Mrs. Asquith at school or Mrs. Beasley, and we could have a look, you could have a look at it together. When we do it at school, we make sure that you give us your answers out loud, and then we might help you to do a little bit of the writing, but we'll make sure that you write some of the words. So if you're having difficulty doing it independently, it's okay to ask for help, but it's important that you do put your effort in just like you do at school because an adult wouldn't sit and do your work for you at school. So we can't ask an adult to sit and do our work for us at home. When you're all done with your boxing up, you can take a picture of it and send it in to Teams for us to see. Remember, we want to keep our boxing up. All the work we do in our writing units, we want to save because when it comes time to write our big piece, it's really important that we have all this work with us because it's going to help us. These are all becoming tools we can use. So don't put them in the bin, don't throw them out, make sure that you save them. And tomorrow we'll work on building our writer's toolkit. So have a good time boxing up, work really, really hard, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.